The market was alive with sound and color, a place where dozens of species mingled in a kaleidoscope of culture. Stalls overflowed with glowing fruits from distant suns, fabrics that shimmer like liquid, tools designed for hands and claws and tentacles alike. Humans had only been allowed into the Concord's trading hubs for a generation, but still, most of them passed through with careful politeness, unsure of their place among species who had traveled the stars for millennia. Sergeant Daniel Kerrigan wasn't there as a diplomat. He wasn't there as a soldier either, though old habits kept him scanning the crowd with a soldier's awareness. He was simply on leave, wandering to the marketplace on a world whose name he couldn't pronounce, a place where the air smelled faintly of metal and flowers, and the gravity pulled a little harder on his bones. That was when he noticed her, a child, small by alien standards, but still half his height. She had the translucent skin of desire, her body glowing faintly from within like a lantern. She was clinging nervously to a bundle of cloth that looked far too heavy for her arms. Her family seemed lost in the crowd ahead, voices drowned out by the noise of barter and trade. Daniel smiled. He remembered what it was like to be small in a sea of giants. And then came the blast. It started as a high-pitched whine, so sharp it cut through every other sound. Merchants froze, their antennae twitching, their feathers flattening, their tails whipping low. Instinct screamed at Daniel to duck. A fraction of a second later, the world erupted in fire and screaming metal. The bomb had been hidden among the stalls, its casing packed with shards of jagged steel. When it went off, shrapnel tore through the market, slicing beams, walls, flesh. People screamed. Stalls collapsed. Fire licked across the market in hungry tongues. Daniel didn't think. He saw the girl. She was frozen in terror, eyes wide, unable to move as a storm of steel filled the air. Daniel's body moved before his mind caught up. He ran, boots pounding on fractured stone, and threw himself over her, pressing her small body to the ground. The first shards hit him like punches from a giant. One ripped across his shoulder. Another buried itself in his thigh. A third tore through his ribs. He felt the breath leave his lungs in a wet gasp. Blood sprayed hot across the child's glowing skin. She screamed, muffled under his body, but he didn't move. He was a wall, a shield, a human barricade of flesh and bone. The world blurred into fire and pain. He held on until he couldn't. Darkness swallowed him whole. When he opened his eyes, it was the silence. The air was cool, the light bright but soft. He was lying on something smooth, softer than any military cot, and for a moment he thought he'd died. But then he heard the voices, low, hushed, alien. He turned his head and saw them. Dozens of them, aliens of every kind. They surrounded his bed in a perfect circle, their faces unreadable, their eyes locked on him. Some had too many eyes, some none at all, some towered like statues, others were no higher than his waist. But they were all silent, watching, waiting. When he tried to sit up, pain ripped through his chest. Hands pressed him gently back, delicate, clawed, scaled. Not hostile, gentle, reverent. A figure stepped forward. It was the girl's father. He could tell by the way the child clung to him, her luminous eyes wet with tears. The man, taller and more radiant than his daughter, bowed. Low, all the way to the floor. Daniel blinked. What's going on?" he croaked. His voice was raw, shredded by smoke and blood. No one answered at first. Then the father straightened, his voice quivering as he spoke, through a translator. "You took the blades meant for her. You bled so she might not. No being has ever done such a thing, for one not of their kind. Not in all the histories." Daniel swallowed. He wanted to tell them it was nothing, that he'd just reacted, that any soldier would have done the same. But looking into their faces, he realized that wasn't true. These were species that measured life in contracts, in treaties, in careful calculation. Sacrifice was foreign to them. Throwing yourself into certain pain, certain death, without thought of gain, it was something they couldn't understand. Until now. The girl wriggled free of her father's arms and ran to him, pressing her small hands to his bloodied chest. She was trembling, her glow flickering like a dying candle. She whispered something in her language. He didn't understand the words, but he knew their weight. Gratitude. Then something shifted in the room. One by one, the aliens around him bent their bodies low. The guards first, tall and armored, lowering themselves until their heads touched the floor. Then the merchants. Then the elders. Even the healers who had tended his wounds bowed until the chamber was filled with silence and reverence. Daniel's breath caught. He wasn't looking at fear. He was looking at respect. Worship. "You do not understand what you have done," the father said softly. "Your kind was new to us, untested. We did not know if you were selfish, violent, cold. Many feared you. But now," his voice shook, "now they will speak of this day for centuries. They will tell their children. The humans will bleed for you." Daniel lay there, speechless. He hadn't saved the girl for glory or history. He'd done it because it was right, because that's what humans did. But the realization hit him like another shard of steel. His one instinctive act had done what centuries of diplomacy had failed to achieve. He had shown the galaxy who humans truly were. Later, when he was strong enough to walk, he stepped out of the healing chamber to find the market rebuilt. The air was filled not with fear, but with songs. Alien voices raised a melody, carrying his name in strange, twisting syllables. He saw murals painted on the walls, his likeness rendered in glowing pigments. He saw children playing, one of them wearing a makeshift cloak like his bloody jacket. And everywhere he went, heads bowed. Daniel Kerrigan, once a soldier, now stood as something he never expected. A symbol, not of conquest, not of power, but of sacrifice, of what it meant to be human. He knew wars would still come. Politics would still grind. Borders would still be drawn and redrawn. But in that one market, on that one day, he had planted a seed in the minds of countless species. A seed that whispered, "Humanity is dangerous." Yes, but not because of their weapons, not because of their ships. Because when the fire falls, they will throw themselves into it for someone else. And nothing in the galaxy was more terrifying or more beautiful than that.